extra, extra, read all about it. Scherrie and Peter's getting married.
I was 13 years old and he was 15. And no one believed that it was love at first sight on my part.
Scherrie met Peter, I think she saw him for the first time when she was about 13 years old. They were in the Lafitte project.
I saw him running in the park. And I tell people this and they laugh at me, but I think about the Greek gods. You know how people talk about Adonis and all of that? He was Adonis to me.
And she saw him, and I think the first thing she said was, "Look at those legs."
He had the most beautiful tan, and he had the most beautiful legs ever for a guy. I mean, he was well built. And he just used to be running laps around the park, and I would sit on my grandmother's porch and just watch him. Never spoke to her, just watched her all the time. And one of my grandmother's neighbors went to school with him and told him, the little girl next door to me likes you, just like stupid kids say. And he came over like a stupid kid and said, "So-and-so told me you like me." And I lied, said, "Oh no, I didn't say that," and all that. And that was our first encounter. And we started dating right after that, and not heavy dating, because my mother didn't allow any of us to do anything before 16. I don't know how I got away with it.
They went on their first date, which was unheard of in the Squires household. She wasn't supposed to have a first date until she was 16, according to Missy Melvin. They went to a party at Dookie Chase, and Missy Melvin made a beautiful dress for that party.
But I turned 15 right when she let me go to a party with him at Dookie Chase. And he was very mature at the time for his age, and I was very naive at the time for my age, so he was with his friends smoking and drinking, and I was with a big old silly looking dress with can slips, looking like I was 10 years old.
Scherrie used to write Mrs. Peter Duplessis, Mrs. Scherrie Duplessis in her school books, in her tablets, on the chalkboard when we were in high school, or maybe even junior high school. She would say she was practicing. But, she wrote it so much that she had a hard time writing Scherrie Suarez.
We broke off for 2 to 2.5 years. He went in the military, and we broke up. And I dated another guy I went to school with for 2 years. And I had never gotten over him, so after 2 years of dating this guy and trying to really love him, I told him I still had thoughts of Peter.
My grandmother told Scherrie when we were in 9th grade that she was going to marry Peter. She said, "Girl," she said, "you're going to marry this man."
Yeah, he returned, sometime in the fall, and he came by to see me, and we started dating again. And then when he went off to Spain, he sent me my engagement ring from there. We got married when I was 20, which was 7 years later, because I met him at 13. September 21st in 63.
You're talking 50 years ago. I'm 53. Yeah.
Her mother made her dress. Beautiful dress. She beaded it. She hand beaded it. She was staying up late at night and she was still working. And she would work on that dress.
To be honest, I remember she had the big wedding out of the 3 girls. She was the one that had the big wedding, you know, with the gown, and she was so happy. That's the other thing I remember. She was just aesthetically happy. Because she's a nervous person, you need to know. Very nervous. Always has been. As a child, she was nervous. But that day, I saw her happy, and that's what I remember.
Scherrie saw a crown and a veil that she liked at a department store, and I just drew a little picture on it of it and made it. I think we made it out of pipe cleaner, white pipe cleaners, and wire and beads, and it really came out kind of nice considering I didn't really know what I was doing. But when Scherrie's mother put the crown on her head and the veil, she asked her, "Can I put this over your face?" And Scherrie answered, "Yes, ma'am." And so I said, "Okay, you know what I'm talking about, huh?" She said, "Yes, ma'am." And she put the veil over her face. Scherrie started crying. She had on a beautiful gown. She had on her dress, her veil, and she started crying. She messed up the makeup. We had to take it off, redo her makeup. I was crying. We were all crying. Even Miss Imelda had tears running down her face.
But I do remember the reception at my mother's home with Peter and Scherrie and Nanny Early. And what's her name? The other girl, Sherrie's high school friend. Okay. Geneva Coleman. Okay, she's not a Coleman now, she's something else. But Geneva Coleman was in the wedding. But I remember we had a lot of fun. That's the most important thing.
But it was all so beautiful. Her dream was coming true, and it couldn't have been more perfect.
Well, there's very little I remember about their wedding day, and they told me, or they're telling me, that I stood in the wedding, and I don't remember. So, other than that, that's all I know about their wedding day.
So nothing.
The reception was in the yard at the home on 4th Street. There were long white tables with white tablecloths and flowers, and of course, lots of good home-cooked food.
I kind of, I guess, see, they're a yin and a yang, really, they are.
Because Uncle Peter let Nanny Scherrie have control. I love it. No, I think they're a good balance.
They have a balance with each other. He's so easygoing, carefree.
Peter has always provided and has always given into her and let her spend his money.
Nanny Scherrie is kind of like me. We going to spend and do it now.
Peter's, although Peter has his own face, Peter is just pretty laid back. Yeah, you know that like I know that. The world knows that. He's pretty laid back and he's pretty cool, calm, and collected with, at least from what our perspective, or my perspective.
Just with Uncle Peter being such a character. He's such a ladies' man still to this day.
I love the fact that you still have the bed from when you all first got married and have had it ever since. I love that. He used to go to a club called Tria, which she used to just go nuts. That he'd leave to go to the grocery and stop at Tria, and she'd call Tria and say, "Tell me to come to the phone." And I'm sure he was in the background saying, "No, no, 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 no." And she'd be hollering at these people, "I know he's there, bring him to the phone." It's crazy.
Like that, Peter just rolls with the punches.
I always tell my Uncle Peter is just a loving, happy, obviously a good man, because I know if a woman could put up with a man for that long, he must be one hell of a man.
Uncle Peter don't hear half the stuff Nanny's Scherrie be saying about him. So that's why they blasted.
I used to see pictures of him doing it, and then we'd watch all the old Bruce Lee movies, and I was so into that.
His inability to hear, so he doesn't really get flustered by all of the things that go on.
She and Peter as a couple, I think they are so unique. You have to be around her to hear her say, Peter! Peter! Peter!
Peter! Peter! Peter!
No, it's always funny with them two. Because Uncle Peter likes to crack his jokes, Nanny Scherrie's trying to shut him down.
As long as I can remember, they keep a youth and a happiness in their relationship. I always looked at them like two little high school kids or rabbits. Every time I see them, they snuggling, he just loving on her, and she act like, oh, Peter, you know, and she just enjoying it too. And
She's so probably uptight. More reserved. She's more like me.
From what I can remember, I mean, I just remember them always being family, you know.
I just always remember them. They're just funny to me. Extremely funny. Not intentionally though. But that's everything that I remember about them is just always me laughing.
I think there's 3 reasons their relationship lasted so long. I think first and foremost, it was because they loved each other, and they loved each other. In the beginning, they still love each other.
but we had such fun being shut in. You know, before we got out and got to go play in the snow and skiing, when we were snowed in, and there was a warmth in that house when we were watching these movies and watching them cuddle up and eating Uncle Peter's chili and the ladies making gumbo. It was a snowstorm, but it was one of the best Christmases of my life.
They both love this family unit. You know, she was the ideal mother.
Because initially Scherrie was a housewife for many, many years, and that was her dream, to be a housewife.
That's the only thing she ever wanted. That was her dream, to be married, to have 3 children, and exactly what she's doing. She's actually living her dream.
You know, those kids have never lacked anything. You know, not that I could ever remember.
The commonality between them is they put their children first in their life. They want the best for their children, and they have worked towards that goal.
They've always been a pretty stable couple, bringing up 3 fairly stable kids, and it's family. Again, I go back to, I think we're really all about family first.
The only other thing I remember Scherrie saying when we were really young, we were still going to Corpus Christi, she wanted to be a nun. Well, hell, so did I. But after she met Peter, that was the end of that.
And they kept something youthful about their relationship.
They have adjusted to each other's personality. I don't think any of them can even phantom being without the other, you know? And that's where marriages are supposed to end up. You know, that's the way they're supposed to end up. That when you speak, the other one can finish your sentence because you've been together so long, you know?
Congratulations to y'all. I am so proud of y'all.
Salud, kampai, prost, and bottoms up, and 50 more. You know?
What I'd want to say to my sister is that I've always admired you as a mother. I've always admired you as a wife, okay? And I love the way you love your family. I mean, it's almost undescribable. Your joy was making sure your husband and your children had everything they could ever want to do. You know, there's not very many people who could say all of their life that has been their motivation to do things, but clearly it was yours. There is nothing that no one could say was not admirable about that. And Peter, I thank you for loving my sister. Because I know sometimes she has to have been trying. And together as a unit, you all have raised 3 wonderful children and number 6, 7, however many of grandchildren you all have. And what is so interesting, you love those grandchildren in the same fashion that you loved your own children. That is very unique, very unique. And I hope all of them appreciate, you know, what you have given of your life, your lives, for their lives. So I just want to say congratulations on your 50 years. I hope you all can manage to get 50 more and know that we love all of you tremendously.
Uncle Peter and Nanny Scherrie, I am so happy to be a part of this and to sharing this with y'all. And I wish y'all another 55 more years. That ought to give y'all plenty of time. Unless y'all want longer, and then I hope y'all get more. I pray that everything goes great for y'all, and you know, I'm happy to be sharing in that with y'all. Y'all have a blessed and happy 50th anniversary.
But Scherrie, your dream has come true. You're living your dream, exactly what you wanted. And I hope for you and pray for you many more years of happiness with your husband, with your children, and with your grandchildren. You guys are truly blessed. Happy anniversary.